Oh, wait a second. Start over. I just hit record on the camera. Good morning. This is Dr. Deb Carlin here with my co-host, Dr. Charlie Cartwright. Charlie, you got your head in the clouds there.
I do. It's a great day. It's the first Friday in December, and I'm happy and excited about it.
That's great. You look heavenly. I feel like we have God here today. This is awesome.
There you go.
Do you ever see the movie with George Burns playing God?
No, I heard about it, but I never did see
Oh,
that.
it is great. No, it is such a good movie. I think I might watch it this weekend. So here we are on the K factor, which is where K equals kindness, and the factors are all the things that lead to it. And so every time it's Friday, I'm thinking to myself, all right, good, because I'm going to commit the ultimate kindness today, team up with Dr. Charlie Cartwright, and bring people Freedom Fridays, which is all about what are you doing in your head and your heart? You know, we've talked a lot about the head, but especially with the work that I've been doing with heart math, I am so focused on what are we doing in our head and our heart that's either making us sick and crazy or getting us into a place of betterment. And so Dr. Charlie Cartwright and I are both very holistic in our approach with health and well-being, as well as with businesses. And so this is kind of an epic show because when I talked to him right before the show started, I said to him, it's going to be good to see you today. And then I said, he doesn't sound quite okay. I wonder what's going on. And then he got on here and I said, how you doing? And you said,
Just getting over the COVID virus. It's just
oh,
I'm out of my protocol now. I can go to the gym. I can go to the mall. I can re-enter society. So it's good.
man, oh man. I'm just adjusting our volume here. Okay, we're all the way up to 100%. So when did you know that you had the corona?
So I started having symptoms a week ago Monday.
Yeah.
Well, probably a week ago Sunday. But I was like, well, am I coming down with something? And took a little echinacea, some different things. And then Monday, same thing. Then Tuesday morning, I woke up and I was like, no, I think I'm good. And then about 9 a.m., I got this headache and just got really achy, and my energy just went just
Yeah.
down to zero. So I remember coming home that night and I went to bed like at 7 p.m., and just restless sleep and slept. And then Wednesday got up and did some work, and then probably took about a 2-hour nap on Wednesday. Then of course Thanksgiving came and I was feeling fine, just a little tired, and that was it. I didn't have any other symptoms other than those. I had fever for the first 2 days, I think, and
Okay.
I went and got tested, and it came back. I took a long form test, and it came back positive. And so then from the onset of your symptoms, there's 10 days that you can't be around people. And then after the 10th day, as long as you haven't had a fever for over 24 hours, then you're fine to reemerge. But, it was I'm glad it's over and done with, because this thing kind of been hanging over everybody's head all year. And in the era that I grew up in, if someone got the chicken pox, your mom would take you over to their house
Exactly.
so you get it over with, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's kind of how it was. And so for me, now that I've been exposed to it, the likelihood of reinfection is extremely low. But based on how the immune system works, we know that. So this time it took, I don't know, 4 or 5 days to completely get over it, let's say. Well, next time, because your immune system has seen it now and recognized it and knows how to deal with it. And so instead of days, now it's down to hours
Yeah.
that your immune system will respond so quickly. So most likely you get reinfected, you wouldn't even know it. You might feel kind of sluggish for a couple hours and I'm okay. And
Yeah.
that's your immune system doing its job. So So I'm happy to be done with it. And this, like I mentioned earlier, this is a time of year where if I'm going to catch a cold, this is typically when it is. And when I catch colds, typically it's a lot of chest congestion, same thing, headache, fatigue, and then I'd have this nasty cough that would actually be painful. And I didn't have any of that. So I've had many colds that were much worse than this for me, and that's my experience. Talked to one of my clients in the grocery store business, and of course, they've had several people throughout this come up positive, but he said my experience is pretty much what he heard over and over again from his people. So
Yes, yes. And that's, excuse me, that's been my exposure to the majority of that. Um, it's interesting because people are so terrified that they're going to get this, they're going to die. They can't go see their family. They're going to kill their older parents. They're going to kill their grandma, and it is bothersome to me the way that the information has been shared, because there's so many ways to deal with this and treat this, and it's not the plague, it's not a pandemic, it's a plandemic, and it needs to be dealt with differently. People, I mean, the whole world, I thought it was more in America, but this is global. The way that my friends in other countries are describing to me the lockdowns and the reactions and the pinches, it's a global hysteria with information not being appropriately uh, shared. And Charlie, here's the biggest thing. Tell me your thoughts about this, please. This would have been a prime year for everybody held captive to be taught mind-body medicine, boosting the immune system. And it's not too late. It is still prime time for us to do this. And I think it's essential for people to understand. I mean, talk about Freedom Fridays. You're living proof of the freedom of having to be terrified about this. And I think this is a terrific platform for us to be able to describe to people what the experience is like, what you do routinely to boost your immune system and to stay healthy so you don't have comorbidities. And people don't even say that phrase correctly. They pronounce it all different ways. But comorbidity just means you've got other things that can kill you.
yeah, and they're chronic conditions. And I
Yes.
think the last stat I saw was the average person that succumbs to COVID, I think the average was 2.7 comorbidities. So
That's right.
2.7 chronic disease processes. Okay. So it's not, you have arthritis in your shoulder. No, it's a serious conditions. And so a couple of things, Dr. Deb, as you're talking about the information and how it's disseminated and how afraid people are, I think it was CNN, and maybe not just CNN, but hey, United States crossed 14 million COVID cases. Well, that's since the first of the year. We don't have 14 million active cases.
Right.
14, they're acting like there's 14 million people in the hospital right now,
Exactly.
or in the parking lot or on the way
Right.
or laying in their bed, gasping for air.
Right.
It's not accurate. And so, yeah, 14 million people have been tested positive for COVID since the first of the year. Currently, if you look at the numbers, we have somewhere around 1.5 million active cases. And every day you get whatever the new test number is, 10 days prior, that number drops off. So we're running about a 1.5 million active cases right now, which is 0.5% of the US population. So 99.5% of the population doesn't, have it
Right. Unscathed, untouched.
It's just so that number, putting that 14 million number is very misleading, because the reality is active cases, and you see, for instance, our professional sports leagues, this team had 14 players, this team had 8, 7, 6, all these different numbers coming out.
Yeah.
Well, those players aren't going to the hospital. They tested positive. Okay, you got to sit over here. You got to be sequestered
Right.
till it's out of your system, till your immune system deals with it. Okay, your immune system has dealt with it. You're cleared. Come back and play.
Right.
That's the reality. And I mean, I didn't miss any work time because of it. None. Yeah. I got all my stuff done. If this was not in a pandemic and I was still working in transportation at FedEx or UPS, I would have went to work. Like but now, because of it, you can't go to work, you can't do this, you can't do that. I didn't feel like I've had things keep me home from work before. This wouldn't have been one of them. Here's the other thing too. The testing that I got the long form testing.
Yeah.
That takes 2 to 4 days. And I was deliberate about that because this rapid testing has been shown to really be inaccurate. And frankly, if it's not accurate, then we shouldn't even, it should be like an automobile manufacturer. They recall. They should recall every one of those. And I don't know if you saw this is just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Elon Musk went in.
Right.
And he went into a clinic and to take the rapid test. And so, of course, it's Elon Musk, so it's a little different, him going in versus you or I. And so, very smart man. So he asked for, and you've got to pay for the rapid test. That's not. Yeah. So he says, I'm going to pay for 4 tests.
Oh, good man.
So he has the same nurse, same instruments, the same company for the kits. The procedure was the same. So he had the nurse test them 4 times, 2 positives, 2 negatives.
There you go.
That's worthless.
It is worthless.
It's worthless. Yeah. And then, of course, the company, I think it's Becton Dickinson, they had no comment. Of course, they have no comment. You put your product out here, you knew it wasn't accurate, but you're making money hand over fist. So, hey, let's put millions of kits and heck with what it's doing to the economy and the psyche of the American people. We're making our money.
Yes, right? Yes.
We're making our money. And it shouldn't happen. That should not happen. And the fact that not that this happened to anybody, Elon Musk, who's been very vocal about the numbers and the lack of accuracy of all the people, what is the randomness of that it just so happens that no, it's not accurate. And so I know the long test, I want to say, is in the 90s, somewhere in the low 90s as far as accuracy. But that rapid test, you get false positives, which is not good. But you know what's even worse? False negatives.
Exactly.
So why is that test being administered when we know it's not accurate? And so again, follow the money. Follow the money, right?
Right, exactly. What's the name of the company that's doing all the tests?
I know there's a few different ones out there, but it was Becton Dickinson, I think, is the one that Elon Musk had taken, and they've sent, they've got a lot of those rapid kits out there. So BD was the company.
So a client of mine, somebody in the family got diagnosed as positive. And so the family members are getting, tested. And she was kind of afraid to go and do it. And so we were on a Zoom call, and I said, look, fear not, while we're on the Zoom call, give me your exact location and I'll plug in here a CVS that you can go to and get the testing. All the CVS places, you have to make an appointment. They were all booked for like 3 days. So we called urgent care. And so I called the urgent care that was closest by. They were booked for the day, but they were available the next day. And you don't need an appointment. You just come and you get in line. And the nurse says to me, but be sure that you get here early. And I said, okay, tell me the story. She said, well, we open at 8. by the time I get here at 7:30, there's at least 30 people in line. And by the time it's 11 o'clock, there is a line around the building. So get here early. So I said to my client, I said, look, you need to get up, set the alarm for 5 o'clock in the morning. And by 5:15, you got your clothes on, your sneakers on, you got a mug of something to drink. Go potty before you leave the house because you're not leaving the line once you get in it. Take a lawn chair with you and go. And so she texted me when she got there and she said, I'm the first one in line. 6:15 in the morning or 5:30, 5. I think it was 5:45 she got there. I was so proud of her. And she got the test and got out of there and tested negative and was thrilled. But she'd put herself in a head game about this and did it too close in proximity to Thanksgiving and was terrified. I'm not going to be able to see anybody. And if I pretend that I'm not worried and I go and I get somebody sick and they die, I'm never going to forgive myself. I mean, the mind game goes on and on. And then when you start to think about all the nonsense with this, just the rhetoric of what it is that people are saying, on Thanksgiving Day, I spent the day by myself. I was thinking about it for several days. Did I even want to do anything for Thanksgiving? There was nobody, everybody was afraid. There were people who wanted to come over and I thought, I don't think I have the energy for it. And then, there were people I thought, like I miss these people, but people are either scared or they're not around or something. Anyway, on Wednesday morning, Tuesday, I decided I'm doing Thanksgiving. So Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm at my local grocery, just a little grocery, and I got my turkey and everything, all the fixings for Thanksgiving Day. And on Thanksgiving, I got up early, got my little bird ready, got him all dressed, as we say, right? My naked bird, and stuffed, and let him sit and get ready to pop into the oven. Went for a nice walk. Took my time all day, didn't turn on my computer all day, drifted my attention out the window to look at nature, baked and cooked and relaxed. I didn't even come into my home office. And I laid back on the couch. I watched some Turner Classic Movies, saw a little Clark Gable. It was really good for me. But then I cried. And I cried really hard. And I'll tell you what I cried about. Some of it was about feeling sad about being lonesome in my isolation as a singular person. But the thing that really had me really crying hard was this horrible reality that has been hanging over us, like not like the clouds where you are, but is like a big, huge, dark cloud over humanity. Not just America, not just this country or that country, but across the planet. This is an evil, cruel maneuver that has been unleashed, and somehow it has pushed people down to the breaking point with the amount of depression and anxiety and suicides. And it's so cruel. And I found myself walking around my home here crying, and my thought was this: how did such a horrible thing happen to humanity? How did such a horrible thing happen to me and all my fellow Americans? And how will we come back from this? Because I believe in the indomitable spirit of the human being.
Yeah, it's been a challenging year so many ways. And when I thought about Thanksgiving, because I remember last year had a blast. My several of my nephews were over, came up from around the state, and I remember we stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning playing board games, which
Oh, wow.
it was just a lot of fun, and just conversation and food, and And this was the first time in over 30 years that the family didn't get together in some form.
No, Charles.
30 years of tradition, and all just because everybody's afraid of this, that, and the other thing, right?
Right.
And again, with this illness, for healthy people, it's very much recoverable. I mean, it's not something that's gonna set you back, for weeks and months and things like that, and so it's just been unfortunate, but being able to come out of this and get on the other side of it, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned, but I think, to your point, understanding gaining an understanding of how important our health is and our immune system, I think is a critical time for that, because I I anticipate that this could happen again in our lifetime, and not coronavirus, but something different.
Something, right?
And um and it showed, definitely exposed how fragile our systems were,
Mm-hmm.
and people themselves, the fragility there. So there's things we can do to strengthen in all those areas, but we have to, be taking action now, and
Right.
to prepare for the future. And the reality too, Dr. Deb, is that there's no one that's watching this broadcast that's gonna be here in 110 years. I mean, we don't get that in this lifetime. So we've got to understand that too. That's a reality.
Right.
And then understanding that tomorrow's not promised, and hey, what can we do to live the most fulfilling life that we can,
Right.
while we're here? Because the most dangerous thing that most people come into contact with is not going to be the coronavirus. It's
Right.
much more deadly. There's many more things that are out there that are you're at higher risk than the coronavirus. And
A
and we
car accident.
That's typically the most dangerous things people do every day, is get in their car and drive. That's typically the most dangerous thing people do every day.
So I have an idea for us. I think that we should do,
Statistically.
yeah,
Statistically.
yes, exactly. I have an idea for us. I think that we should do a webinar. And I think that we should recruit companies in to hear us talk about the ways in which we can really we can have a footprint in the culture. And here's what it looks like. How would you like to have a webinar with two experts in business and in mind body medicine and in holism, talk to your employee group about self-care? Because when it comes down to it, you know, you are responsible for this vehicle you live in. Why don't we teach everybody to take care of their body the way that they take care of their vehicle? You got to go get checkups, but you have to maintain the vehicle. You have to put gas in it. You have to wash it, keep it clean, right? Keep it out of the elements if you really want it to last. So, um, I like the old philosophy in China of the barefoot doctor, which I was taught was in every neighborhood, there's a doctor, a practitioner, an acupuncturist that will walk to your home, or you walk to the clinic, and it's there in your little neighborhood. And you go there and you're getting care, but you're also learning how to care for the self. And that's one of the things we need to do. So for instance, we can teach people right now in our show today, what do you do to boost your immune system? So here's a recommendation that I make. You need time for pause. You need time for quiet. You need to start your day, not boom, tearing out of bed or turning on the TV and watching the news first thing. No, you need to arise, open your eyes, give gratitude for the fact that you didn't die in your sleep. this changes your brain chemistry. It changes your heart rhythm. And everybody, I mean, this little device that I use, heart math with this little cord that plugs into my phone and clips on my ear, shows me my heart rhythm and uses biofeedback to get me into the right place. Takes me 5 minutes and puts me into another zone. That allows my body to have all the directions to start my day out right. So I'm not starting out by depleting. It also puts my mind in the right place so I can do some unstressed, clear thinking and decision making. So that's let's do like a ping pong or a tennis game here and go back and forth and say what the next thing is in terms of what we want people to know about with boosting their immune system and being healthy. What comes after that step, Charlie?
For me, it's always important to do things that are sustainable,
Yeah.
that you can repeat, or regardless of where you're at, if you're in your home or you're in a hotel or staying with a relative or a friend. And so this concept of the cold shower is something that a lot of people don't practice, and
Okay.
it's inexpensive, right, to do. And there's a lot of research on it. And I'm not saying the whole shower, but when it's time to rinse that soap off, flip it over to cold, and get your soap all rinsed off your body. And so there's several studies out there, but the last one I looked at, there's like 17 health benefits to
Okay.
that practice. And it boosts your immune system, your immune response. What it'll do, your spleen will dump white blood cells into your bloodstream, which is awesome, right?
Yeah, right.
And to boost your testosterone levels, improve your hair, improve your skin, improve your nails. Then there's the resiliency aspect of being able to do that on a daily basis, and so you're building up some resilience and mental toughness there. Blood flow, it increases. There's just so many health benefits
Yeah.
from that cold shower.
It's shock
And,
to the system.
and when you have a stuffy nose and you're have some nasal congestion, the common thinking is, oh, put a pot of steam over the stove and stand over that and all this. You get in a cold if you have your nose is stuffed up and you're having a hard time breathing through it because it's so stuffy. You get in that cold shower and put your head under that, it'll drain, your sinuses will drain like a faucet. It'll open them up. It'll
So
drain
you're
like
talking about people going in and taking a warm shower and finishing it off with cold.
finishing off with cold.
Yeah.
Or if you want to dare to be great and have the whole thing cold, that's fine too, but that's a little brutal. But
It
I'm
is
talking
brutal.
about finishing with cold.
Yeah.
In the morning, it'll wake you up. But if you do it at night before your bedtime, it's like a tranquilizer. It'll
I have
put,
not done it at night. I do it every morning in the shower.
it'll put your body into that mode where you're gonna be able to go to sleep. And so, yeah, there's like at least 17, maybe 18. I'm seeing the number 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Researched health benefits to that. So that's such a great practice.
So we've given people 2 things that they can do. Here's another one that I've been doing all year, and I love this. Whenever I have felt like I was having the sniffles come on, I keep with me at all times a product called Olba, Olbas, Olbas, and you can get it online at Amazon, and they've got cough drops, lozenges type things, and those are okay. But what I do is I get a little thing called an inhaler. It looks like a little lipstick tube, or yeah, like with a little rounded top on it. You take the top off, and and you just insert it into your nasal cavity, and you inhale, and it's got these beautiful Swiss herbs in it, And it really, it goes up your nose. It goes into the sinuses on either side of your nose, under your cheekbones. And I'm telling you, you can feel it in your throat and you can feel it in your forehead, because all of that is sinus cavity. And so you really clean it out. The more you use it, the more you feel it spreading. And it is amazing. I rarely have to use Kleenex. I don't really want to blow my nose. And I didn't ever know this, but I had a bad sinus infection period, a lot of stress in my life about 35 years ago. And I got pneumonia and a sinus infection. It was horrible. And my ENT said to me, the specialist, don't keep blowing your nose. You're pushing the mucus into deeper cavities. Oh my gosh. I mean, so I'm storing it. I think I'm getting rid of it. I mean, yes. And I thought that's all he needed to say. I didn't need a graphic description, nothing. But the reality is that you don't want to have to be blowing. It's hard on your vascular system. It's sickening to hear or to watch. And nobody wants to be around you. Right? It's like, ew, what do you got cooties. So, and it's really helpful with that. So I do OBAs. And then here's the other thing, Zicam. I do the little nasal swabs, comes in a little orange and white box. Again, Amazon. And it's a long Q-tip. And it comes in a little tube that you crack open and you swab the inside of your nasal cavity and you inhale and you're taking in zinc and vitamin C. I think it's lovely. It's a way to clean it out and to deliver some good nutrition. So those are two of my tips. And hot water, drink hot water throughout the day.
What was that first one again? How do you spell that?
OLBAS. I need to be their spokesperson.
That's true. That's awesome. I love that one. And it's so interesting too that all these natural cures are really working. So the next one I would talk about would be grounding or earthing.
Oh, I love this. Have at it. Go ahead. Describe
Grounding
it.
or earthing. And so,
Yep.
so you gotta take your shoes off and your socks off, and you gotta go out and stand on the earth, not on the asphalt or the pavement or the concrete.
Yeah.
On the earth, in the grass, on the ground. And yeah, there's a lot of research on this, so you can look it up for yourself. And there's so many benefits to it. I remember reading a study. There was a lady, and I want to say she suffered from chronic pain for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And been in and out of traditional medicine and doctors, hospitals, all the stuff. Just no relief. And so she went to a holistic practitioner, and the practitioner wrote her a prescription for grounding every day. And so I want to say, and the study's out there, but I want to say it was 20 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And in 6 weeks, her pain was reduced by over 80%.
Isn't that amazing?
In 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're just connecting with the earth, and there's all of this biofeedback that's happening between you and the actual planet.
Yep.
And it's amazing. There's healing through that. So that's so cool. And again, what does that cost?
Yeah, that's right. So what about people who say, oh my gosh, take off my shoes and socks, go outside and do that? How can I possibly do that? It's cold outside or it's raining outside.
You'll live.
It's
You'll
a
live.
hard line approach.
You can go out there for a couple minutes, especially in the wintertime, a couple minutes, snow on the ground. Okay.
Right.
Scoop it out, scoop it over there, spread it out a little bit.
Right.
You can stand there for 60 seconds and then get back in the house. You'll benefit.
That's right. And I prescribe for everybody UGG boots, UGG, UGG. There's nothing more delicious than putting your foot into a cave of sheepskin, lamb's wool. It's like when you look in the boot, you can't even see the bottom of it, even if it's short, because it's just so fluffy. And you put your footy in there. Have you ever put on an Ugg boot?
I only one time in the store.
Oh, you can't wear any socks. People think I'm like really weird because I don't wear socks. It's a rare occasion that I'll put on a sock. I put my foot into that Ugg boot, and every bit of that lamb's wool fiber is just pushing in on my skin, and I'm going, oh, yummy. What was your experience when you put your foot in the store?
It really felt great, actually.
Yeah.
And I made it a Christmas gift for my son, right? Because we were the same size shoe, and it's funny, he never wore them for like
No.
2 years. So finally, he gave them to me. So I'm gonna wear them this year. So that was my question. So you don't wear those with socks, or do you?
No, no socks. You're blowing the whole thing out. If you wear socks, you are ruining it. It is like earthing in the Ugg. It's Ugg earthing. And I need to call these companies because really I do so much promotion for them, and it all ties together with what it is we've got going on. The the beauty of it is we put in all kinds of cushions and Dr. Scholl's or foot prosthetics, right? And I'm telling you that when you put your foot into an Ugg boot, it is delicious. Now, if you want to maintain the arch in your foot, you have to make sure that when you're wearing something that's got such a flat surface to it, that you do the exercises that you need to do to keep that nice arch in your foot. And I've got great feet. I've got great arches in my feet. But I also grew up with the story that you needed to roll your foot on a jar, you know, and exercise your feet by rolling your foot back and forth on that jar to keep your arches up. And then also, if you have the capacity, no matter what your age is, do a little ballet and do a little toe work. You can get up on your toes, and you don't have to go on the tips of your toes. That's real ballet work. But get up on your toes and really exercise your arch. And then the flatness of that Ugg boot just feels delicious. As a matter of fact, it's not very sexy, is what gentlemen tell me. I wear my Ugg slippers in the house all the time, and I wear my Ugg boots, and they're just so darn comfortable that I mean it's delicious. And comfort, it's not about something superficial. Comfort versus discomfort is a true mind body medicine reality. When you think about the word disease, it's dis-ease. You are uncomfortable. So everything we do to make ourselves comfortable is essential. So if you go out, like Dr. Charlie's saying, you go out, it's wintertime, you stand outside, just take your slippers off, make it easy. Take your slippers off, no socks, put your feet onto the earth. I actually like to stand in the snow barefooted because I like the way that my feet are going to go on there. And, the snow kind of sizzles a little bit because it immediately melts because your body temperature is so much warmer. And when you put your slippers back on, you can take a little towel with you, dry your feet off, put them back in your slippers, run back inside. It's so exciting because it's just like the cold shower. You're giving the shock to your body. And by the way, when you're standing there earthing, don't be swearing and thinking negative thoughts. It's about good thoughts and good vibrations that you're getting from the earth as well as giving to the earth, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, the mindset's so important to everything.
Yes, it is.
to everything. And I remember one time I was sitting on a plane next to a gal, and we were talking about so many things, but I think we were talking about health and nutrition and different things like that. And this guy was a shaman, actually. So it wasn't a plane. I actually met her in her office,
Okay.
really in person. And we're talking about nutrition, and I was talking about these different things and dietary changes I had made. And I was talking about growing up as a kid and believing that when I used to eat cereal, like the Cheerios, not Cheerios, but Fruit Loops.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Fruit Loops when I was a kid. And when I was eating them, I was imagining that when I ate them, that I was sending these troops into battle. So every time I ate a Fruit Loop, there's another troop with a rifle
Oh
that
my,
was in my body fighting off disease, and I kind of joked about it. And
that's
she
so
said,
interesting.
well, if regardless of what you're eating, if you believe that it's going to benefit you, it will.
I
I'm
love
like,
that.
no, it's so true because your belief is so powerful in the transformation of those things. And so our mindset is so important that people really realize how crucial and critical what your thoughts do and become within you and the world. It would revolutionize quite a bit.
Huge, huge. I love that we are doing this because, Charlie, we can do this exact thing. I'm going to share this episode with clients and potential clients and say, we can do this for your audience. This can be a 30-minute or a 1 hour. We can have the chat box open on the side and allow people to do Q&A with us and really get questions answered. You know, the other thing that I do routinely with everybody who I deal with in my business who will allow the mind body component of the work to come forward is I talk about the ways in which we've got natural cures all around us. And I'm going to go back to Amazon. Aloe vera juice. The aloe plant is that wonderful big green succulent that gets huge actually. And a lot of people will have traditionally an aloe plant in their house. And if they have a burn, you slice it open and there's a gel on the inside and you put it on the burn or any wound that you get and miraculous healing takes place, and it's true. So there's been wonderful research about aloe vera, and if you just go to Google, or if you go to Google Scholar, if you want the academic side of the things that we're talking about, um, go and do aloe vera juice. There are products, Desert Valley is one, but as long as it is 100% pure aloe vera juice, no additives, no flavors, don't get the gel. I accidentally bought the gel in a bottle one time. I thought it's like drinking Jello that never congealed all the way. What's going on here? So the juice is really delicious. And by the way, I play a mind game with myself because it kind of tastes like unflavored gelatin. So people will get it at my recommendation. They'll go, "Oh my gosh, I'm giving the rest of it to you because this is sickening. I'm not drinking this." It's like, aren't you the person who drinks scotch? I mean, are you kidding me? Scotch is killing you, but you drink it and you go, "Oh yeah, that feels good, warms my throat." Yeah, okay. Let's talk about what else it does. I can sour you on scotch in a minute. And let me tell you, so let's play the head game here with aloe vera juice. And what I get people to do, I hit a nerve, didn't I? Probably for every man who listens to this, yeah, give me a cigar and a scotch at the end of the day. Okay, well, I think that's really groovy. Great. But other times during the day, I want you to take a shot or a glass, just a juice glass or even a shot glass, and take aloe vera juice in, because here's what happens. It heals on a cellular level. And so if from entry to exit, it's healing everything. It is a natural antibiotic. And out of University of Wisconsin in Madison, decades ago, the farmers were coming under so much fire for giving their milking cows antibiotics, right? And a big splurge all over the country in the news, just like coronavirus. Oh, they're feeding our animals antibiotics. They're killing us. We won't be able to take antibiotics because we've got a resistance to them. Okay, well, that was actually worth screaming about, because that's true. So what somebody did, who knows how, I don't know. What do we call it? When it's accidental, but it's not accidental. It's serendipity. It was serendipitous. And they started doing research. If you wash the teats in the aloe juice, the benefits, if you start putting it in the water, you start putting it in the food, these cows didn't get sick and infection. So they were able to change things. Well, that's great. So when you drink the aloe juice, I've done this with people who are cancer patients who have got those terrible mouth sores. Just take it, hold it in your mouth, tuck in your lips, and hold it, and allow it to just sit, and then just slowly swallow it, and just visualize, do the visualization with it, that it is going all through your body, and every part of this is penetrating every cell, which is how we digest. Everything travels through every part of us, and visualize the healing components. That'll be good for your head. But even if you don't do that, the aloe juice is going to work for you. Within days, people have got mouth sores that nothing medicine, lozenges couldn't cure. And this aloe juice is doing its work. I've had people with esophageal reflux and, GERDs and all this, ulcers, diverticulitis, spastic colon, hemorrhoids, talking about, wow, this stuff is really interesting. Well, it is interesting, but nature is our friend, not our enemy, right? So my recommendation is aloe juice every day.
The one thing I'll add to all this too, Dr. Devin, everything you and I are talking about for the listeners,
Yes.
you don't have to take our word for it. You can go do your own research and you'll find that we're telling you the truth.
Right.
So it's out there. So you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take Dr. Dev's word. Go do your research. Go do your homework, and you will find we're telling you the truth.
Right.
And so there's so many charlatans out there that are talking about this and that and their opinions, and I'm just not interested in opinion. I'm interested in the science behind
That's
these
right.
things. And there's solid science behind everything that we've said. And to me, that should be, when there's a dispute about what's better, then the science should settle that.
That's right.
Because there's no feeling there. There's no emotion. It's just, here's what the science says. Right. End of discussion.
Right. That's right. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. And now you hit on a major point. I've been saying that all year, and I had people arguing with me. Yeah, but that's not real science. Oh, okay. Why don't you explain to me what real science is? Because I've actually studied it for my whole life, and when you're talking about real science, I'd like for you to break it down for me and give me the components. Well, I heard what they said on the news about 14 million people. Oh, okay. Do you remember the toothpaste commercial that said 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this toothpaste? They had 1,000 and 800 of them said, we hate this toothpaste. So what they did was they isolated 10 of them, and they said, you all kind of agree on this, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, we got to bring somebody in who doesn't. Okay. Now we got our 9 out of 10. And if you don't think statistics can lie, yes, they can. So then people say, well, how do you know what to believe? Well, I'm proud to tell you that I have my master's degree in research methodology and statistical analysis. So there's a lot of things that you can know and learn and do and be discerning about. And then you know what? Be your in the things that Dr. Charlie and I are talking about, be your own guinea pig. Because I can tell you there's not one thing that we're going to recommend for you to do that's dangerous.
And that's the thing too. And I've had this thrown in my face a couple of times.
Right?
Oh, so you always bring up your education.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole point of getting the education. So that I know what I'm talking about and that I know where to get the information and I know how to differentiate and distill, right? Fact from fiction.
Yes, exactly.
Because there's a lot of fiction, a lot.
There's a lot of fiction out there, a lot of hog manure, as we say. So this really, when you do the things that Dr. Charlie and I are talking about, and we will not cover everything in this episode, but we will create, I'm going to challenge us, Charlie, between now and tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to send you a program that we can offer to companies where we come in as a panel and say, here's the things we'd like to have your whole company do, your whole organization do, because we care about your healthcare costs. What's the number one concern in normal times in our country of every CEO? Healthcare costs, in health insurance costs, the benefit package. It's costing everybody a fortune. Well, now it's just, can we survive? You know, how can we survive and thrive in today's new world? Well, the most essential thing that we can do is get our head straight and have our heart aligned with it and have practices that people can talk about that they're doing. I remember when Quaker Oats was the only company that I knew of in the United States, and this was when I was in high school. So this is going back 40 years. When I was in, oh my gosh, no, 50 years. Okay, 50 years ago, when they were the only group, the only corporation, major corporation, doing yoga breaks during the day.
Wow. Wow.
Very groovy. And by the way, the people who worked there said wow as well. And then they got into the practice and they really felt the wow. So all the things that you and I are going to introduce people to, we can revolutionize the workplace and then the home and then the neighborhoods and change the face of our communities, our country, and our planet by sharing all of this.
I love it.
I do too, Charlie. And I love you. I love us. I love that when we first came together at Starbucks, we sat, we laughed, and we giggled, and we knew something was going to happen here. We had some kind of productivity that we were assigned to do. And today, looking like you're an angel in the heavens, well, I'm here in the sea above my head. We are bringing you freedom this Friday. Freedom for your peace of mind, freedom for your wealth and health of your body, and freedom for your life. And we love humanity, and that's why we do what we do. That's why we're here. It's why our partnership means so much, because we share an energy and a perspective and an attitude. And it's not that we agree on every single thing. We're two different people with two different backgrounds and realities. But you know what? So what? We come together and it's all good, right?
100%.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to sign off a minute or two early because it's been a long week. And we're going to say, this is Dr. Deb Carlin and Dr. Charlie Cartwright here on Freedom Friday saying ta until next time, right? Okay, hang with me.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you, madam. Ta, everybody.